In 1900, a group of Greek sponge divers were caught in a storm off the coast of a small island called Antikythera. They took shelter, and when the storm passed, they decided to dive the local waters. What they found on the ocean floor changed our understanding of the ancient world forever. The wreck of a Roman cargo ship, over 2,000 years old, filled with extraordinary treasures, marble statues, glassware, jewelry, and one object that nobody could identify, a lump of corroded bronze the size of a shoebox, encrusted with 2,000 years of ocean sediment. It sat in a museum in Athens, largely ignored for decades, until it cracked open and revealed a mechanism of such extraordinary complexity that scientists initially refused to believe it was real. Interlocking bronze gears, precision dials, inscribed scales, a device capable of calculating the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, predicting solar and lunar eclipses, tracking the cycles of the Olympic Games, with an accuracy that would not be matched by European technology for another 1,500 years. A 2,000-year-old computer found on the floor of the Mediterranean Sea, and we still do not fully understand how it was built. Welcome back to Mysterious History, the channel where the official story is never the whole story. Today, we are looking at a single object, one artifact, that has more to say about the lost capabilities of the ancient world than almost anything else ever discovered. The Antikythera Mechanism, called the world's first analog computer, the world's oldest known complex geared device, and one of the most astonishing examples of ancient engineering ever found. The questions it raises about what the ancient Greeks really knew and what knowledge was lost when their civilization fell have never been fully answered. Let us find out why. The Antikythera shipwreck was discovered in April of 1900. The cargo ship had sunk sometime between 70 and 60 BC, possibly caught in a storm, possibly the victim of pirates. We do not know. What we know is that it was carrying an extraordinary cargo from somewhere in the eastern Mediterranean toward Rome. The Greek divers recovered hundreds of objects from the wreck over several diving seasons. The haul was remarkable. Bronze and marble statues of museum quality, fine glassware, amphoras, coins, all of it transferred to the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, including the unidentified bronze lump. For 2 years, it sat in storage, largely ignored. Then, in 1902, an archaeologist named Spiridon Stays noticed something extraordinary. The corroded lump had dried and cracked, and through the crack he could see gears, bronze gears, precisely cut, interlocking, inside what appeared to be a wooden casing that had long since rotted away. Stays announced that he had found an astronomical clock or calculating device. His colleagues were deeply skeptical. A device of this mechanical complexity simply should not exist from this period. It took decades of research to prove that Stays was right, and then some. The Antikythera mechanism has been studied intensively for over a century. Modern imaging technology, including X-ray tomography, has allowed researchers to see inside the fragments without further damaging them. What they have found is breathtaking. The mechanism contained at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, possibly as many as 70 in its complete form, cut with extraordinary precision. The gears drove a series of dials and pointers on the front and back of the device. The front face showed the position of the sun and moon in the zodiac, and the phase of the moon. The back face had two large spiral dials. The upper back dial tracked the Metonic cycle, a 19-year period after which the phases of the moon repeat on the same days of the year. It also tracked the ecliptic cycle, a 76-year astronomical period. The lower back dial predicted solar and lunar eclipses, using a mathematical model of extraordinary sophistication. The mechanism also included a dial tracking the 4-year cycle of the Pan-Hellenic Games, including the Olympic Games. The device was essentially a hand-cranked mechanical computer. You turned a handle on the side, the gears turned, and the dials showed you the current positions of astronomical bodies, the dates of upcoming eclipses, the phase of the moon on any given date, past or future. The engineering required to build it was not supposed to exist for another 1,500 years. This is the core of the mystery. The Antikythera Mechanism dates to approximately 100 to 150 BC. The mechanical sophistication it displays is extraordinary for any era. But for the ancient world, it is almost impossible to explain. The precision gear cutting required to build this device was not achieved again in Europe until the 14th century AD at the earliest. Some researchers argue the 16th or 17th century. That is a gap of 1,500 years. 1,500 years during which the knowledge and capability required to build this device apparently did not exist. How is that possible? Several explanations have been proposed. The most straightforward is that the Antikythera Mechanism represents a peak of ancient Greek technological achievement that was simply not preserved. The school or tradition that produced it died out, perhaps in the wars and upheavals that marked the decline of the Greek world. Perhaps simply because the knowledge was held by a small number of specialists and was not widely transmitted. Knowledge that is not written down and taught broadly tends to die with its practitioners. The ancient world lost vast amounts of knowledge this way. The Library of Alexandria, the traditions of countless schools and workshops. The Antikythera Mechanism may simply be a survivor from a tradition of mechanical sophistication that was otherwise completely lost. The question of who specifically built the Antikythera Mechanism has fascinated researchers for decades. The inscriptions on the mechanism are in Greek. The astronomical cycles it tracks were known to Greek astronomers. The device was almost certainly built somewhere in the Greek world. But where exactly? And by whom? The island of Rhodes has been proposed as the most likely origin. Rhodes in the 2nd and 1st centuries BC was a major center of astronomical and mathematical knowledge. The great astronomer Hipparchus worked in Rhodes during exactly the period when the mechanism is thought to have been built. And some of the astronomical parameters built into the mechanism match Hipparchus's known calculations with remarkable precision. Some researchers have proposed that Hipparchus himself was involved in the design, or that the mechanism was built in a tradition directly descended from his work. Cicero, the Roman writer and statesman, wrote about a device he had seen that could replicate the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. He attributed it to Archimedes, the legendary Greek mathematician and engineer of the 3rd century BC. Archimedes was killed by a Roman soldier during the sack of Syracuse in 212 BC. His workshop was apparently looted. Some researchers believe the Antikythera Mechanism may be directly descended from devices built by Archimedes or his students. We cannot prove it, but the timeline fits. The Antikythera Mechanism raises a question that goes far beyond a single artifact. If the ancient Greeks could build this, what else could they build? What other technologies existed in the ancient world that have left no trace? The answer is almost certainly a great deal. Ancient sources describe remarkable machines and devices that sound impossible given our assumptions about ancient technology. Hero of Alexandria described a steam-powered device in the 1st century AD, a rotating sphere driven by jets of steam, the Aeolipal. It was apparently used as a novelty or temple effect, not developed into a practical engine, but the basic principle of steam power was known. 2,000 years before the Industrial Revolution, ancient Roman concrete has been found to be more durable than modern concrete in certain applications. The specific formula was lost and has only recently been partially reconstructed. The Greek fire used by the Byzantine Empire was an incendiary weapon so effective it could burn on water. Its exact composition has never been determined, lost entirely with the civilization that created it. The ancient world knew things we do not know, could do things we cannot do, and the Antikythera Mechanism is the most dramatic surviving proof of that fact. A device that should not exist, sitting in a museum in Athens. Proof that the ancient world was more sophisticated than our history books have been willing to admit. A shoebox-sized lump of corroded bronze, pulled from the floor of the Mediterranean Sea, 2,000 years old. Inside it, the most sophisticated mechanical device the ancient world has left us. 30 interlocking gears, precision dials, a hand-cranked computer capable of modeling the movements of the heavens. The knowledge required to build it was lost for 1,500 years, and we found it by accident, by a group of sponge divers sheltering from a storm, which raises the question that the Antikythera Mechanism always leaves us with. What else is down there? What other impossible artifacts are sitting on the ocean floor or buried under the earth, waiting for someone to find them by accident and force us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the past? The Antikythera Mechanism changed our understanding of ancient Greek technology forever, and it was found by accident. The next discovery might change everything again. Subscribe to Mysterious History for new mysteries every week. The official story is never the whole story. Coming up next on Mysterious History. In 1969, a serial killer sent an encrypted message to a California newspaper. It took the world 51 years to crack it. And what it said is chilling. The Zodiac Killer's cipher. Next week on Mysterious History.